Just as in all other imperative programming languages, you can use variables in Java source code to access data and manipulate data. A variable is simply a named memory location. Its content can be changed during the program execution. A variable is characterized by three things. Firstly, a data type, which tells you what kind of datum can be stored. A value, which is the current content of the memory address which the variable points to. And a name or an identifier by which you can refer to this variable in your source code. But not all strings are valid identifier that may appear in Java source code. What can appear? Well, any sequence of alphanumeric characters, a dollar or an underscore sign, is a valid identifier, except it cannot start with a number and it cannot be one of the keywords, such as public, private, and so on. Remember that Java source code is case sensitive, and therefore all of the three strings below, hello world, hello world, hello world, they are all valid identifiers, but they are all different identifiers, because the second one spells with a small h, and the third one has a small w, where the other two have capitalized w's. The following are all examples of strings that are not valid Java identifiers, so they may not appear in source code in this way. The first one is not a valid identifier because it uses these bracket signs, which is not allowed. The second starts in a number, which was forbidden. The third ends in a number, but that was fine. The problem here is that you have these plus symbols, which are simply not allowed in identifiers. The fourth one is a keyword, and the last one has this dot symbol here, which is also not allowed in a Java identifier. Now these ones here are all valid identifiers. They look all over the place, but in fact they only have two different symbols which aren't letters or numbers, namely the underscore symbol and the dollar symbol, and they were expressly allowed. So all of these here are valid identifiers that you could use in your source code to name variables. But of course, as you can see, these are all somewhat crazy, right? You wouldn't want variable names like this, and therefore we have a bunch of conventions that tell you how to name things in order for people to understand your source code. These conventions were class names. They usually start in capital letters. Method and variable names start in lowercase letters. And if you have a variable name which consists of several words, you will use camel case, meaning that you would concatenate the words directly one after another, and each new word will start in a capital letter. So you would write maximum height with a capital H and not with a small height. This is the Hello World program that we've seen in the previous video, and these are all the identifiers used in this source code. And as you can see, they all adhere to the previous definition. Notice here that system out println is not a single identifier, but instead we have three of them separated by dots. System is one identifier, out is another one, and println is the third one. In order to use variables, you first need to introduce them to the compiler, which means that you need to tell the compiler which identifier has what data type. This can be done using declaration statements. They're very simple. They just start with the name of the data type, followed by the identifier that you want to introduce, and then, since it's a statement, it has to end in a semicolon. Here are some examples. Remember, double int types. So the first one declares a variable called current weight, which is a double. The second, students learning Java, and the third, maximum value. These are declared to be integers. This at this point only declares the variable to be of a certain type. It doesn't assign any value at this point. Variables must be declared before you can use them. If you want to store some value in a variable, you can do that using an assignment statement. These typically look like this. Identifier equal sign some value, and this value can be any expression that is of the right type. Here's some examples. Students learning Java. Remember, it was declared to be an integer. So you can write students learning Java equal 78. And this is a variable assignment which stores the value 78 in the variable students learning Java. Maximum value is defined to be 120 plus 5. And of course, these here are two literals, but together they give an expression that evaluates to an integer. And that's fine because maximum value was declared to be an integer. So after line 2, the variable maximum value will have the content 125. And finally, in assignment statements on the right hand side, you can also put other variables. So maximum value can now be reassigned to be the current value of the variable students learning Java. So this means after line 3, the value of maximum value will be 78, because that is the current value of the variable students learning Java. It's very common to declare a variable and also initialize it at the same time. And therefore, you can do two things in one statement, that is a declaration and an initialization. And the statement typically looks like this. You have a name of a type followed by the identifier that you want to introduce equal value that you want to assign. Again, here's some examples. The first line declares a variable called current weight to be a double, and it initializes it to a value of 122.5, and the others are similar. Finally, let's rewrite the Hello World program that we've seen before using a string variable. This program here will declare and initialize a variable called output in line 5. So after line 5, this variable has the value hello followed by a space. Then in line 8, we change the value of this variable by adding a string world exclamation mark. And finally in line 11, we simply print the current value of this variable. And this will of course print hello world.